Let's check in on this so-called impeachment.
Come on, I rock the planet, beating my chest like a silverback back, silverback back. I hold it down, take my crown on them. I'm a silverback back, silverback silence. There's some kings in the building. Throw your fists up and show some respect. There's gorillas in here, gorilla in here. It's gorillas in here, gorilla in here.
This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount. The economy is too uncertain. International relations are shaky. New COVID-19 strains seems to be, mutating daily. You cannot count on anybody except for yourself. That is why many investors are deciding to buy gold and silver and keep it close to them. That's the only way that you can feel secure. Noble Gold is your perfect choice. You can have your precious metals shipped right to your door. And here is a perfect place to start. This 4 set of American Eagle 22 karat gold coins is the perfect investment. You know why? Because they're changing the design. That means less than a year from now, you'll be holding a rare and valuable collection. And all 4 of these $5, $10, $25, and $50 coins are bullion grade proofs, authenticated by the U.S. Mint. And there are just 20 sets around, so it is first come, first serve. Also a mystery surprise extra coin as a holiday gift in every set. Discover more and call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347. That's the Noble Gold, 877-646-5347. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And I'm going to tell you, Sean Hannity put together a montage and all of this overwhelming evidence that shows just how ratchet, stinking, dirty, nasty, hypocritical, evil, cynical, disgusting, poop smelling, poop stain, smell like they wearing a boo-boo suit, coming straight up out of the sewer. Yes, that group of Democrats that's trying to impeach the former President Trump have left a litany of hypocritical statements and behavior all over the internet, along with the funky, dirty, stinking, nasty liberal media. And I thank Sean for pointing this out, and I would be remiss if I didn't let you guys witness this. And just in case you run across one of your friends who, for whatever reason, have been buying into all of this garbage from the liberal media and from the Democrats and think that it's all Trump that's been out there telling everybody to go out and fight and, be insurrectionists and domestic terrorists, maybe you should show them this.
This is not a speech of concession, because concession means to acknowledge an action is right, true, or proper. As a woman of conscience and faith, I cannot concede that.
But will I say that this election was not tainted, was not a disinvestment and a disenfranchisement of thousands of voters? I will not say that.
Do you think the vote was stolen from you? The election was stolen from you?
I think the election was stolen from the people of Georgia.
We had this little election back in 2018. And despite the final tally and the inauguration and the situation we find ourselves in, I do have one very affirmative statement to make. We won.
Y'all hear Stacey Abrams? We won. Won what? I mean, you didn't win nothing. If this woman right here claims that she won, then isn't she, undermining our democracy? We've been told that. We've been told when you question, election results, you're undermining our democracy. What you're doing is you're inciting people to not honor our traditions and norms and things of that nature. You're being an insurrectionist. And based on what they did to President Trump and everybody who disagreed with the results of the election, shouldn't she be banned? Where's her Twitter account? Is it still up? Shouldn't it be taken off? Isn't she, for some reason, encouraging insurrection, creating doubt and suspicion about our election process and the integrity of it? No? Well, I tell you what, guys, let's sit back and wait and see just how long it takes them to remove her Twitter account or to ban any of these speeches that she made questioning the results of her election on the internet. Should we hold our breath? Nah, we'd be dead by the time that happens. But there's more.
Sound familiar? Now, is that an incitement to insurrection? To this day, over 2 years later, Abrams still refuses to concede. She says democracy failed Georgia, that mistakes clearly altered the outcome of the election. She even claimed that there were tens of thousands of examples of voter suppression, fraud, abuse, and that this was not a free and not a fair election.
Was the election in Georgia statewide a free and fair election?
It was not a free and fair election.
Jeez, oh man. Now, did y'all hear her? It was not a free and fair election. So, I don't get this. I mean, this is how crazy this is, guys. This is how hypocritical this is. These folks are out here destroying our country, talking about they want us to all come together and put all the hatred and division aside, and yet they're attacking the former president, trying to impeach him. They're out there swearing up and down that he sent an angry mob to kill folks in the Capitol building, and yet they're not even aware that they left all this evidence online that is exactly what they're accusing President Trump of doing. See, the difference is this. They got the long and strong arm of big tech and the media protecting them. Their voters, for some reason, don't see this stuff, and all they see is spoon-fed, fake, phony news saying that President Trump was the one that couldn't take a loss. And she is talking about it wasn't a fair election. Weren't they saying that anybody who brought that up in November the 3rd and a little bit after, that, you know, they need to be pulled down off the internets? I'm waiting. Where's Basil? I want to know if these videos right here are being snatched down. Is her account shut down? No? Oh, okay. Well, maybe as we continue to go through Shawnee Boy's montage, maybe the big tech guys and all the bubbleheads will get a hint about these people's hypocrisy and evilness, but I doubt it.
We had thousands of Georgians who were purged from the rolls wrongly. It was not fair to the thousands who were forced to wait in long lines because they were in polling places that were under-resourced, or worse, they had no polling places to go to because more than 300 had been closed. It was not fair to the thousands that were put on hold with their registrations, and it was not fair to those who filled out absentee ballots, and depending on the county you sent it to, it either was counted or not counted, assuming you received it in time.
Anyone in the media say she's a liar? Anyone in the media say this was insurrection language? According to Abrams, she is the rightful governor of Georgia.
What? So wait, so that's news to me. That is news to me. So when we say that we feel that creepy, sleepy, sloppy, sleazy, slimy is not our president, and when President Trump would get up and say that, you know, he feels he won and he's the rightful winner of the election, and they all attacked him, right now, I guess everybody in Georgia is operating and not realizing that the actual governor of Georgia is Stacey Abrams. And yet, there's no backlash. There's no nothing. Are you seeing? Are you seeing now the hypocrisy and what's really going on? Do you now see how vast this cabal is, this organization, you know, all of these, you know, entities coming together to suppress this type of stuff right here? And to gaslight and make all of these people not realize that these people who are projecting all of this on President Trump is guilty of the very thing they're accusing him of. I mean, you have to be a complete to not see it.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did.
As I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president. Mm-hmm. And because of that, he's very insecure about it. It wasn't on the level. It wasn't on the level in 2016. It could be, once again, not on the level.
Now, y'all listening to Crooked, he knows that, he knows what? He knows what? Hillary Clinton never took the L. This woman, when she lost, had to go on a sabbatical. She went on a full-blown Mecca into the forest, rocking that circus tent, walking that moo-moo, looking up at the trees. She went through a whole 2 or 3 years of depression and never accepted the results of the election.
Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances because I think this is going to drag out, and eventually I do believe he will win if we don't give an inch and if we are as focused and relentless as the other side.
And then got the nerve to tell Joe Biden not to concede by any means. And yet, not one backlash to her. Not one Democrat came out and said, now, regardless of what the outcome is, we're going to accept the results of the election. And Hillary Clinton, I don't know why she said it, but we condemn that. No, they didn't do that. You know why? Because they had plans. They knew that if, for whatever reason, it didn't go their way, they would fall back to this narrative. Versus if it did go their way, then they would bring out all of this, if you don't agree and accept the results. Then, of course, you know, you're insurrectionists and you're breaking all the norms. And that is why they were trying to get President Trump to go ahead and agree to concede regardless of the results. And now we see why he was wise not to. But yet, they don't have to pay a price. And you'll see that as we go on through the rest of this montage. Go ahead, Shawnee boy.
Speaker Pelosi tweeting, quote, our election was hijacked. There is no question. A few months later, the corrupt, congenital, compromised liar Adam Schiff said he had ample evidence that Donald Trump colluded with Russia to steal the election. We all know now that was a complete lie and a conspiracy theory.
So you telling me nasty Pelosi, bag of bones, monkey paw hands, went out there on Twitter and said that it was stolen. I mean, just straight up stolen. And that tweet's what, still up probably. I mean, nobody took her count down. And then you got corrupt, bug eyes, pencil neck Schiff getting out there that's been pushing Russia collusion narratives for probably still pushing it. As far as we know, the man never came out and apologized. He abused his position on the intel community. He pushed lies to the media, which they accepted and ran with. And there's nothing, that doesn't undermine our fair and, honorable elections. I mean, you don't think that caused all these people for the last 4 years to think President Trump stole the election because of the Russians? Huh? And then listening to Nancy Pelosi say the same thing and Hillary Clinton say he knows he's an illegitimate president. All of that, you don't think that divided the country and caused what we're about to see happening in our country with all of these people who bought into this rhetoric? You don't think that that didn't contribute? No? Okay. Because if you don't, then you got a problem. And it's bigger than what I can solve. Let's continue.
And of course, just last year, impeachment manager Jamie Raskin, that guy, he shared a politically charged conspiracy theory that Republicans were going to take away America's voting rights and civil rights and health care, and tweeting, quote, we must fight. Oh, this assault on health care and the Constitution. Sounds like Donald Trump. Sounds like what they're all outraged about.
So now look at Pee Wee Herman up here conducting the impeachment trial. And yet he used words like, we must fight and all of those things. Same things that they, for whatever reason, can't understand the context when President Trump was saying it. For some reason, when they're talking about fighting, it's, symbolic. It's a metaphor. But when Trump says fighting, it's literal. It's literal. See, when Trump says be strong, that is interpreted as run up to the Capitol and attack folks, run in, burn it down, attack Pelosi, drag Pence out and burn him at the stake and hang folks and all that stuff. These people are horrible. These people are evil. These people are corrupt. They know what they're doing and they're taking advantage of a lot of people. And they are the source of the division in our country. I mean, I can't tell you that more seriously than I am right now. Normally I like to joke, but this right here is so serious and people need to see how hypocritical they are. I'm gonna try to get through this without losing my cool. Yeah, see, I'm so cool that I'm hot, but I'm so hot that I'm cool.
Another impeachment manager, Eric Swalwell, when he's not hanging out with his Chinese spy girlfriend, he also declared he would like to fight like hell. It's an impeachable offense to tell Americans to fight like hell, right?
Did y'all hear Eric Smallwell? Yeah, got hold of that fang, man. He ain't recovered yet. He done sent that spy somewhere overseas talking about, baby, they coming after you. I'm giving you a heads up. I'll come for you later. So this same man who's been for 4 years accusing President Trump of being a Russian agent, and now he gets out there talking about he would fight like HE double hockey sticks, and that's not to be misinterpreted as violence. Please, someone go and find me any statement from President Trump that might even be possibly misconstrued as go and start some type of violence or riot. If you do, I got a whole heap of money. Well, not a heap, but I got some money that I give you. See, what I'm not going to do, like the Democrats, is take little snippets and pieces to build a narrative without showing the whole context. And I'm also not going to be hypocritical and say this type of violence is okay, but this one isn't. These people, man, makes me, I almost let it go in front of y'all. Let's continue.
Remember the deranged Bernie Sanders fan targeting Republican lawmakers on that baseball field? Remember, he shot multiple people. In the lead up to the mass shooting, the gunman contacted his congressional office 10 times with complaints about the Republican stance on health care.
Now, I'm just curious, is Bernie guilty? Did Bernie, based on the Democrats, Bernie literally probably shot Steve Scalise himself. He might as well. It was one of his supporters, right? Not to mention the Democrats are always using over-the-top inflammatory language like he's killing folks through healthcare. He's ripping babies from the parents. All of these words, all of these titles that they throw out there are enough to make people like someone who's unstable, like the guy who actually committed a violent act against Republicans, make them go right over the edge. But nobody said that Bernie Sanders was responsible for inciting violence. No, they didn't say that? Huh. It's interesting how somehow the Democrats never return the courtesy and stuff like that to Republicans, as I guess Republicans give them. When will they learn?
More recently, an angry mob of Democrats surrounded, attacked Senator Rand Paul and his wife after the RNC. Rioters showing up at Senator Josh Hawley's front door where they harassed his wife and his young baby. Others targeted the home of Senator Lindsey Graham. The home of Mitch McConnell was targeted and vandalized. He was confronted in a restaurant. In May, a massive crowd of far-left agitators attempted to breach the White House. Next door, they lit historic St. John's Church, remember that, on fire. What happened at the White House was only one example of what was a wave of summer violence and riots, and that left at least 30 Americans dead, injured thousands of police officers. A federal courthouse was attacked for weeks on end. A police precinct literally burned to the ground. Others occupied. Businesses in dozens of cities looted, vandalized, lit ablaze.
Now, look at this montage. Look at this montage of all of that, y'all. We sat and watched for about a good 8 or 9 months straight of them doing horrific things that could not be misinterpreted as peaceful protesting. Even though the Democrats, along with the liberal media, backed these people and said these were peaceful protesters as they looted and burned. It wasn't a one-time situation. It wasn't a one-off, kind of like what took place at the Capitol. This was consistent. These people made it their mission every single day to come out and destroy property, burn stuff. Countless lives were lost. Police officers were hurt, killed, all of that. And these hypocrites got the nerve to be up there to the last couple of days during the impeachment talking about President Trump deliberately incited violence and all of those things. We're about to see who really incited the violence. And I'm telling y'all, if I was President Trump's impeachment lawyer, why even give an open statement? Why don't you just put together this montage, play it right in front of all these hypocrites, and wait for them to respond and tell you how they can justify the things that they did and said or didn't do, and yet up here accusing President Trump of trying to kill him and inciting violence and undermining our democracy and our norms. This right here is the height of hypocrisy. We can build a castle out of all of this hypocrisy.
Retired police captain, remember David Dorn? He was murdered while protecting one of those businesses in St. Louis. Remember Horace Lorenzo Anderson Jr.? He was murdered in the Chaz Chop Autonomous Summer of Love Spaghetti Potluck Dinner Zone in Seattle.
Now, for all the minorities out there that think that the Democrat Party just loves black people, no, they don't. They love complicit black people. They love black people who are completely, blindly loyal to the Democrat Party for no reason. They love the black people who don't have the intelligence, wisdom, and just knowledge to see how they're being played. Because if they really loved the black people, they wouldn't have supported, defunding the police, taking police officers out of black neighborhoods that need it more than anybody else. They wouldn't have sat back and just watched these people burn black neighborhoods and businesses up and said nothing. See, that right there shows me that you don't love black people. You use black people to, push this narrative of racism, but you don't really love them. You only love the ones that are blind and loyal to you. Because look, we had a police officer right there. Because the last couple of days, we've been hearing how much these people at the Capitol disrespected the police. Yet we got a black police officer. That's the way he ended his life. Do you think he deserved to go out like that? And I didn't hear not one person on CNN, MSNBC, or any of those networks mentioning him. No, they ain't want to talk about that. See, this black man that was in Chaz Chop or whatever, the Summer of Love, when he was killed, that's the only reason the mayor decided, we got to clean this mess up because it might look bad on us because we are the ones that been lying to everybody saying that we just love black people. So now we need to go ahead and go in there and get them out. Oh, not to mention the black police chief, the lady, because remember, the Democrats love black people. They love women and all of that. But yet at the same time, this woman had to step down and resign because they full-blown cut her knees out from under her. And yet minorities still support these deals.
Last summer's riots left a wake of devastation, and most Democrats, most in the media, they didn't care. Some even condoned, some supported these so-called demonstrations. They wouldn't call them riots. They lied to our face and said, it's mostly peaceful. Then Kamala Harris, on top of everything.
Man, Shawnee boy, you are sticking it to him. He's right. See, most in the media didn't do anything. Remember Don Lemon? This dude, he talked about, that Antifa, they were against fascism and stuff. Remember, Fredo Cuomo, who was talking about how, who says protesting needs to be peaceful? Show me. It's all over the place, but nonetheless, he's talking, show me. Remember how Kamala, the chameleon Harris, went down to support that young boy who got himself shot because he didn't comply with the cops' demands after his former girlfriend called the cops on him for assault and breaking all types of laws and restraining orders and things like that. But yet she goes down there and swears up and down he's so brave. All of this took place and these people defended it. And it wasn't until the popularity of this summer of love and violence and all of those things started to wear on Joe Biden. And that's when you got Don Lemon coming out saying, we got to do something. It doesn't look good in the polls. That's the only reason. He said, Joe, you need to say something about what's going on around the country that everybody else seeing with their eyes, but y'all are gaslighting us, telling us as buildings burn in the background that these are mostly peaceful protests. So now, since this is going south, Joe, get your butt out there and condemn it. And what did Joe do? Came out, condemned it, but never condemned Antifa. No, he didn't do that. But it was Trump, because they wanted him to condemn white nationalism and stuff. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, people. I better go to the next clip.
She said promoting a bail fund for violent rioters arrested. One violent offender freed from jail twice just because of this fund was now arrested for a third time.
So if I'm understanding, Chameleon Kamala Harris raised money to get criminals out of jail, insurrectionists out of jail, to get anarchists out of jail, to get rioters out of jail, to get looters out of jail. Didn't even check to see if they had a prior record. It didn't matter. And it once again proves that the Democrat Party are lawless. They will become lawless at the drop of a hat. they will use lawlessness to their advantage. They don't have principles. That's why they got a swinging, pendulum when it comes down to their moral compass. It's broke. I mean, that thing takes them in all types of directions. And so now they want to accuse President Trump of being lawless, an insurrectionist, and all of these people that was at the Capitol are now domestic terrorists as they bailed out real domestic terrorists. Hypocrisy. Y'all smell it? I smell it. Hypocrisy.
When is Kamala Harris going to be held responsible? When will any of the Democrats be held responsible for the violent rhetoric, their conspiracy theories, their lies, their hoaxes? Because if Donald Trump is now guilty of inciting insurrection by saying the exact same thing as Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton, well, there are dozens of other Democrats who should be held to the exact same standard.
Now, you know what's absolutely amazing? That they have the boldness to get up on the floor and go at President Trump like this when these people in their own party have left all types of evidence out there. I mean, heck, Mad Max the other day, when she was asked about what she said, do you think that you were inciting violence? Did you think she was going to go, absolutely? No, she was like, no. I mean, I didn't say anything that was worse than this president and blah, blah. And I'm going, are you kidding me? I mean, do they solely rely on their raggedy, uneducated, low IQ audience to not go and look at the video footage? I mean, do they even have any shame, any embarrassment to get up out in public and say all the things that they're about to say right here and yet not even have any self-reflection? No, they don't. These folks right here are the pits.
In fact, we noticed that during their arguments this week, the Democratic impeachment managers, two of which said fight like hell, well, have easily been talking about members of their own party. Watch this.
He was impeached for inciting armed violence against the government of the United States of America.
And you push back on them, and you tell them they're not welcome.
Donald Trump, the President of the United States, ordered the crowd to march on Congress, and so the crowd marched.
Go to the Hill today. Get up and please get up in the face of some Congress people.
He made statements lauding and sympathizing with the insurrectionists.
Everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day.
His rhetoric was dangerous, and it was going to result in deadly violence. And that's what makes this so different.
The people are going to turn on them. They're going to protest. They're going to absolutely harass them.
He urged them again and again, with increasingly forceful language, to fight to stop the steal.
Stand up and fight for the best of who we are. And I'm prepared to fight, and I know how to fight.
The violence was what he deliberately encouraged.
I said, no. I said, if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
He didn't just tell them to fight like hell. He told them how, where, and when.
We're going to keep fighting and fighting and fighting for this.
He didn't stop it.
You got to be ready to throw a punch.
He didn't condemn the violence.
When they go low, we kick them.
He incited it further.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. Imagine if somebody said that about Biden.
Exactly. Y'all hear that? So now you just heard all of them talking reckless. I mean, Joe Biden, he can't fight. He can't do nothing. This dude can't even remember what he had for breakfast. Then you got Bag of Bones, monkey paw. I mean, now granted, she got that monkey paw hand. I don't want that little monkey paw hand scratching and biting. But nonetheless, that woman's talking about throwing punches and Mad Max talking about taking folks out. But I'm sure all of those statements were just metaphoric. I'm sure. Let's try to get through this hypocrisy without drowning in it.
But if the new standard is set by the Democratic Party, all of the people you just heard would be guilty of inciting insurrection based on their own words that they presented today.
And there you go, Shawnee boy. You are absolutely right. Because, see, the Democrats, if it wasn't for double standards, they wouldn't have it at all. You've heard the statement, the saying, and it's true. They are completely lawless. They're corrupt. And they only do things that benefit themselves. And it's never a surprise when they do stuff like this. I mean, I'm at the point now in this last 4 years where nothing they do would shock me. And that's a bad place to get to. See, when you are at that place where people are saying, you know what, there's nothing that you can do that would shock me. You know why they're saying that? Because they look at you now as pure, 100% uncut, bona fide evil. That means that you are incapable of doing good stuff, okay? That means if you did some of the worst things that mankind could ever witness or experience, somebody wouldn't be shocked. I mean, you come to me and say, man, the Democrats pushed a whole busload of orphans off a cliff. And I'd be like, sounds pretty much like the Democrats to me. That's bad, man. But you know what? Nobody can sum it up like Shiny Boy. I'm going to give you the last word. Sean, good job, my friend.
The hypocrisy is breathtaking.
Get fed with me. I'm scared. This is our city. Yeah, our state. Yeah, our coast. Up north, got our hands round your throat. Cut your wind off. We need bring the room. Get your hands off our plate before we eat through. Got a storm. Got us robbing. You ain't noticed it yet. Y'all got a problem. I know you see the goons. I know you see the apes. I know you see the way we tear up the place. Yeah.
Just want to say thanks for checking out the video. Check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. The link is below this video. If you click on it and put Kevin in the promo code, you'll get a 20% discount. And finally, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And if you'd like to donate to Kevin and Kevin's Corner, there's links below this video to do that as well. Okay, God bless you and God bless America.